Hello, BookTube. I thought we'd continue on with the second bookshelf, the one with the suspense novels, thrillers. And I'd like to look at some of the work of Jack Higgins. And to do that, I'm going to start with a fellow named Harry Patterson. There he is running on the beach with an Irish wolfhound. Harry Patterson is Jack Higgins. Harry Patterson's his given name. I first got into him after he wrote The Eagle Has Landed, Valhalla Exchange. I've always enjoyed him. I've never kept up with all his books. He's written an awful lot of books, and I don't have every one here that I've read. Given away a lot of them over the years. So, To Catch a King. Best-selling author Jack Higgins, The Eagle Has Landed, and best-selling author Harry Patterson, The Valhalla Exchange, are one and the same. Now, proudly under his real name, Patterson has delivered his best novel to date. Now, if you notice, he still publishes as Jack Higgins to this day, so the Harry Patterson thing never caught on, I guess. In July 1940, as the Duke and Duchess of Windsor fled from German-occupied France to Neutral Portugal, Hitler began laying plans to invade Great Britain. Operation Sea Lion, he called it. And he ordered Brigadier Walter Schellenberg, his number 2 man in the SS, to proceed to Lisbon and prevail upon the Duke and Duchess to become the new King and Queen of England under Nazi rule. If persuasion didn't work, Schellenberg was instructed to forcibly kidnap the royal couple. Naturally, the British Secret Service didn't think much of that idea. Let's see. Stein and Day Publishers, New York. This is a second printing from 1979. To Catch a King. Now, as Jack Higgins, we get that same photo on the back, and it is a good one. This is Luciano's Luck. There you go. Stein and Day Publishers, New York again. This was 1981. It looks like it's the first edition, the first American edition. This is the story of the clash of two godfathers. The first was Don Antonio Luca, head of the mafia in Sicily, whose brother went to the electric chair in Chicago in 1929, leaving Luca hating the Americans. The second godfather was a legendary prince of gangsters, Lucky Luciano, who was sitting out World War II in the penitentiary. In the summer of 1943, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces, desperately needed an imminent invasion of Sicily to be a quick success. That would happen only if the peasants could be induced to rise and revolt against the German occupiers. But only the Mafia could call out the peasants, and Antonio Luca wasn't going to lift a finger to help the Americans. So Eisenhower picked Major Harry Carter, who'd met Luca and knew Sicily well, to put before Lucky Luciano a proposal he couldn't refuse. Jack Higgins, Night of the Fox. See what the author photo is a little different on this one. There's end papers. A nice map of Jersey. Let's see, this one is a different publisher. Simon & Schuster, New York. Let's see, 1986. This is the first edition. Okay. Higgins sweeps the reader into one of the most extraordinary and secret episodes of World War II, a mission to rescue from hands of Germans a man who knows the time and place of D-Day. Colonel Kelso was an American, one of a handful of bigots, the code name for officers who know the most crucial secret of the war. His disappearance after a landing craft is sunk during an exercise causes a panic in the Allied High Command. The news that he has escaped death only to be washed ashore on German-occupied Jersey redoubles the consternation. Somehow Kelso has to be snatched from under the German noses, or else ruthlessly silenced. Here, Storm Warning, Jack Higgins. Like Collins. So this is a British edition. Storm Warning, Jack Higgins, Collins, 14 St. James Place, London, 1976. It does look like a first edition. In August 1944, as the war in Europe enters its final throes and Germany faces defeat, Captain Berger, master of the German supply ship Deutschland, peacefully sailing up and down the coast of Brazil, decides to risk sailing the old barkentine home to Kiel, 5,000 miles across the oceans dominated by Allied navies. Storm Warning is the epic account of the act of reckless courage. At times becalmed, at times whipped by tropical storm, challenged by the Royal Navy when she takes on Swedish disguise, threatened by the dissensions of men under stress, often it seems that the Deutschland makes progress by the sheer determination of her crew. This was a gripping read. This was one of the ones that I've read that I like the most. There's another Collins. Well, no, this isn't. It's a British edition. Here, let me show it. Touch of the Devil. Touch the Devil, excuse me. Oh, it has a feel of a Collins, but it's not. It's Book Club Associates. So it's a book club book. Published in 1982 by Book Club Associations by arrangement with William Collins Sons and Company Limited. Okay. That's why it feels like a Collins book. I'm not sure how that system works over there. So. Martin Brosnan was a killer, trained in the hard school of Vietnam, graduate of many battles for the IRA. He was also a poet and a scholar, a man who had sickened of the violence woven into the fabric of his life, an adventurer who would break into the innermost sanctum of Army headquarters and leave a rose when by all the rules there should have been found the corpse of a British general. He was also a convict, rotting in France's strongest prison, the island fortress of Belle Isle. Frank Berry was a killer too, but one who belonged to the most dangerous category of terrorists, those who kill not for principle but for money or for kicks. He had to be stopped, and to the harassed British intelligence service, it seemed that only Brosnans could do the job. So Liam Devlin, lone survivor from the carnage of the novel The Eagle Has Landed, was reluctantly from retirement to help extricate his oldest friend from imprisonment. Yeah, so it's one of the ones where Liam Devlin is a major character. I like the cover on this one, Cold Harbor. There's the author looking dapper. This is Simon & Schuster, New York. Yeah. 1990, first edition. On a cold, dark night in May 1944, a month before D-Day, an American OSS agent floats helplessly in the sea off the coast of Brittany. When a German E-boat appears out of the fog, bearing directly down on him, Craig Osborne knows his war, possibly his life, is over, until he looks up to find himself face to face with a man he last saw at Harvard in 1939. E-boats were the German version of like the motor torpedo boats and motor gunboats that the British use in the Channel. The closest thing we had were probably PT boats, which we use in the Pacific. Next one is Jack Higgins' The Killing Ground. Author on the back. Let's see. G.P. Putnam and Son, New York. That's a seriously small type. Wow. Copyright 2008. Okay. A little hard on the eyes. I'm going to have to tell you the truth. That dust jacket is pretty hard to read, too. This is a Sean Dillon story. Okay. For intelligent operative Sean Dillon, it begins with a routine passport check, but the events it will lead to will be as bloody as any he has ever known. The man he stops at Heathrow Airport is Casper Rashid. Born and bred in England, but with family ties to the Bedouin tribe, fiercely wedded to the old ways, as Rashid has just found out to his pain. His 13-year-old daughter, Sarah, has been kidnapped by Rashid's own father and taken to Iraq to be married to a man known as the Hammer of God, one of the Middle East's most feared terrorists. Dillon has had his own run-ins with that clan, and when the distraught Rashid begs him to help, Dillon sees a chance to settle old scores. Jack Higgins Without Mercy. Okay, G.P. Putnam and Sons, or G.P. Putnam's Sons, New York. And let's see here, 2005. On the pavement, Hannah Bernstein was trying to haul herself up, clutching at the railings as Dillon got to her. "You're all right, just hold on to me." But there was blood coming down her face, and he was afraid. And Jack Higgins' acclaimed bestseller, Dark Justice, intelligent operative Sean Dillon and his colleagues in Britain and the United States beat back a terrible enemy, but at an equally terrible cost. One of them was shot, another run down in the street. Both were expected to survive, but only one of them does. As Detective Superintendent Hannah Bernstein of Special Branch lies recuperating in the hospital, a dark shadow sent by a figure from the past steals across the room and finishes the job. Consumed by grief and rage, Dillon, Blake, Ferguson, and all who loved Hannah swear vengeance, no matter where it takes them. But they have no idea of the searing journey, both physical and emotional, upon which they are about to embark, nor of the war that will change them all. Filled with dark suspense, driven by characters of complexity and passion, this is a novel that once again proves that, in the words of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Jack Higgins is the dean of intrigue novelists. He has no equal. Alright, so Jack Higgins, A Darker Place. The author. G.P. Putnam Sons, New York. Copyright 2009. A famous Russian writer and ex-paratrooper named Alexander Kurbsky has gotten fed up with the Putin government and decides he wants to disappear into the West. He is under no illusions, however, about how the news will be greeted at home, having seen too many of his countrymen die mysteriously at the hands of the thuggish Russian security services. So he makes elaborate plans with Charles Ferguson, Sean Dillon, and the rest of the group known informally as the Prime Minister's Private Army for his escape and concealment. And then finally, the last of the Jack Higgins novels that I have, Jack Higgins, Wolf at the Door. G.P. Putnam Sons, New York, 2010. On Long Island, a trusted operative for the president nudges his boat up to a pier when a man materializes out of the rain and shoots him. In London, General Charles Ferguson, advisor to the Prime Minister, approaches his car on a side street when there is a flash and the car explodes. In New York, a former British soldier, who is also a bit more than that, takes a short walk in Central Park to stretch his leg when a man comes up behind him fast, a pistol in his hand. And that's only the beginning. So those are the Jack Higgins. Usually good, exciting reads. I've read very few of them I don't like. They are hard to keep track of them. There's so many of them. I don't know if they usually have a list in front of these things. Yeah, I'll give you an idea. That was in 2010, a list of his books. You see him around in paperback a lot, and with a lot of different covers, a lot of reprints, but he's worth reading. I think Eagle has landed, Storm Warning, Luciano's Luck, Night of the Fox. Those are some of the better ones. But I hope you search for some of his books and that you enjoy them. Thank you, BookTube.